Hey, a Folk Studio here. So, games like this are why I like League of Legends. These are the games that got me to where I am. I mean, I got better. I stopped doing some of the silly things. My elo got higher. Whatever. Who cares? But I played games like this where they're just chaotic and people are dying all over the place and the fights are awesome. That's why League of Legends is a good game, because you can get into these really lower level games and they're really fun. They're really just insane. And playing games like this honestly are things I miss every now and then. Because if you get too competitive and keep playing competitive games over and over, you get into a bit of a pattern. And those patterns aren't very exciting. If it's a really passive farm fest game, sitting around for 20 minutes waiting for the carries to get strong kinda sucks. I mean, that actually affects me in who I play in terms of supports. I prefer really aggressive supports. Get me Leona. Get me Alistar. Janna's okay. Get me Lulu. Not Soraka. I'll play her, But these games is what make League of Legends fun. These chaotic, insane games where people are screwing around, people are feeding both sides, and it's just insane, and it's just nuts. So appreciate these games. Don't get frustrated that your teammate is sucky and the worst and ruining your entire gameplay experience. Just go ahead and go, well, whatever. If he sucks, he sucks. If he's good, he's good. I just want to kill all the dudes. Every single dude. So we're gonna jump back in the replay. A small note: there were some recording glitches. Nothing really got cut, except now Mundo is at top lane with Kennen in a bush waiting to jump on someone. Let's go. And we're back. Here we are. Mundo has started pushing the top lane, and Kennen's waiting in the bush for Fizz. And this is just kind of that aggression, that non-stop focus on getting kills. At the time, no one else is anywhere on the map pushing up a lane. Everything's going on top. They're just trying to get these kills and get any advantage they can out of them. And it's funny because the communication here would actually save lives. Tryndamere knew there were people in that bush because his W turned on. That was the sign for him to go, let's back off. However, Caitlyn starts going for golems. The enemy team can see her because golems started moving, and it's going to cost her life. Now that would be a really, really obvious situation where you can get information but without seeing a character. So there, they knew Caitlyn was there because golems were moving towards her. So they knew they could initiate on her. That was easy. But you can really get this information in many, many different ways. If you see a lane acting differently, and that you've been beating, maybe the jungler is ganking. If there is no one there, and you have no wards on Baron, or no one on the map and you have no wards on Baron, maybe they're doing Baron. If the enemy team isn't running away, you're probably getting ulted by Fiddlesticks. And it's really interesting how this non-stop aggression really leads to fun, exciting gameplay. This is a success Riot has in the game. You can play really stupidly, you can die a lot, you can get a lot of kills, and it's really fun when you do that. So even though like Caitlyn dying there wasn't really necessary or important, it's fun because, hey, Kennen got a kill on Caitlyn and Caitlyn got the tower. Oh man, there's blood flowing, there's adrenaline going. And poor Tryndamere. Sadly not able to escape the wrath of Frozen Mallet, Shyvana, and Kog'Maw. Overextension is probably the biggest issue I see in this game. People want to punish mistakes. They want to see that guy who's out of position and go, boom, dead. But you can't do that all the time. And sometimes when you can only go so far. In this case, Fizz punished the Kennen, or the Kog'Maw, for chasing that Tryndamere. And he's actually going to be able to kill off Shyvana. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. That passive is super strong. I love that passive. So, in that case, Shyvana thought, oh yeah, no, we can kill him. But really, she needed to back up earlier because his amazing damage from his W was just going to kill her in the end. And really finding these moments where you have to back off and go, you know, let's not chase. That's what's going to make you a better player. Now, this game is not being a better player right now. This game is about having fun and seeing a bunch of cool team fights. But really quickly on the subject, you can see Shyvana has a lot of farm. And farm's relatively equal between the two teams, but being good at CS can really get you far in this game. So if someone had been farming perfectly this game, they would just have a massive gold advantage over the enemy team. And farming perfectly, while not super easy, you can get pretty close with not a whole lot of effort. This is another case of overextension. I mean, obviously it looks really, really good for them. They're chasing Tryndamere, he's used his ult, he's not going to get away. It's against Mundo and Shyvana with a million slows. Except Fiddlesticks just came to kill Mundo. As well as Caitlyn. That is not, good. And a lot of it is instincts. What happened there was Mundo went, oh no, the tower is attacking me. I gotta run away. Am I gonna run away behind me, where I have to walk farther to get away from the tower, or am I just gonna try and get out of range ASAP? The instincts were to get out of range, because, I mean, who wants to be in range of a tower? But how it didn't really save him from Fiddles, it didn't save him from Caitlyn. He ran into the enemy team. And getting these base instincts of going, well, I think the enemy should be here by now and I should back up differently, is what will set you apart and make you a good player in the end. You don't have the time to process and make weird decisions when you're playing League of Legends. You just don't. So much goes on in a few seconds. You got to be ready to make quick decisions from the back of your brain, just yelling at you, going, do it right, do it right. Learning what is right is step one. Training yourself to do what is right is step two. We all know we should CS. Now, training yourself to actually always be patient enough to get the CS, or patient enough to get CS at the right time, is difficult. Now, I like this fight. It's a really good start for purple side in a way, and blue side. They've got Tryndamere in dead. He's gonna die. The Ignite will kill him. But Kennen ult is down. They're chasing into the tower. Mundo's caught between a Ziggs and a dead Tryndamere. Fizz is just murdering that Kennen. And all the while, Kog'Maw is not being focused. There's very little to say except Kog'Maw does a ton of damage. And I love this Fizz. I just love that constant aggression coming out. Sex Core, you're so sexy. The problem with Fizz, though, is he's a very, very squishy melee mage. And as a Rumble player, being a very, very squishy melee mage means you die a ton. Because you can't do anything to stay alive. He does have a Rod of Ages, he does have a bit of tankiness, but that's not going to keep you alive against a Kog'Maw. Actually, against a Kog'Maw, that almost does nothing. So, Mundo's, he's taking map objectives, he's doing what he needs to do, to win the game. And they're getting into the best team fight possible. This is just the effect of not warding. You don't see the entire enemy team closing in on you in an area without a tower. Now, unfortunately, Fizz came, got a fantastical on both Wukong and Mundo, and Tryndamere is here to follow up. Ziggs lands a great ult, something he hasn't been doing this game. Kind of a weird ult when you're not used to it. And the question is, can purple side run away from blue side? Not really. Ziggs dies to Shyvana. Tryndamere is just trying so hard to get away. Fiddlesticks might save him. And he does. He kills Wukong mid-dash. That is so cool. The corpse of Wukong was flying at that Tryndamere to kill him. But alas, corpses do no damage. Dead men tell no tales. Rest in peace, Wukong, rest in peace. Now, it kind of sucks for purple side, though, because blue side's got a really good dive team with Mundo and Kennen and Shyvana. Now, no, Kennen is tanking the tower. This is something players forget about quite a bit. That tower is doing a ton of damage. The damage the tower does increases with every hit to champions. So the fact that Fiddle got his ult off, and even though he only got a couple ticks on Kennen, means he's dead because of that tower damage. And Kennen is dead too. They needed someone tankier to tank, but that takes a bit of coordination that sadly you're not going to find in solo queue at most brackets. The question is, can a Tryndamere chase down a Shyvana and a Mundo to kill them? No. No, he can't. If he's super fed, maybe, but no, not this one. He's not fed enough, and Mundo's very, very hard to kill as a melee DPS because of his constant slows, because of his really strong CC. Now, they're setting up for Baron. Baron is only good to do when it's safe. And the question I pose now is this Baron safe? Do they have any coverage to prevent them from initiating on them? Not really, no. Is Fiddlesticks a safe Baroner? Yes, but if the enemy team gets to him and he gets stunned like that, he's screwed. Don't forget, Baron has a brief knockup that is dodgeable. So you'll see some bubbles, it'll shoot up in the air. It will actually be visible through Fog of War, so you can tell when enemies are doing Baron. And purple side stole Baron. Now the advantage is there are 2 people dead for them. So now blue side can try and just take advantage, get some kills, and clean up. However, the positioning from Kog'Maw makes that impossible at a very, very basic level. At the same time, though, Kennen ult is so good in small skirmishes, and as well as Mundo and Wukong, even support Wukong. I really, if there was only a way to get past laning without dying, support Wukong would actually be pretty cool. He really doesn't need a lot to initiate a fight. He needs a lot to survive a fight and deal damage, but to get that fight started, he just needs to go in there, ult, and pray he doesn't die. And usually, he lasts long enough to knock people up. Now, blue side's going to play defensively. This is something that takes a lot of effort to happen in solo queue, because you just see those guys, you want to kill, and you just want to kill them so badly you will do anything. But when you hold back that murderous intent, when you hold back that primal rage of clicking buttons to kill fake dudes, you can go really far. Can Tryndamere escape Mundo? Yes, sadly. I really love this brush because people have camped it constantly, and no one's really taken the effort to put vision anywhere near that bush. And this is something I took on my notes and labeled it as cleavers. Find out if you can guess why. Mundophile. I love this because he waits till he sees someone else on the minimap before engaging on the mysterious bush person. Sadly, they'd already left by then, but that's actually a really big risk they took. When you're throwing cleavers in that bush, you're giving away that you're in that bush. So the enemy knew they were there, but unfortunately, purple side didn't group up enough to take advantage of Kennen and Mundo camp in that brush. Instead, Tryndamere sadly died. It's really hard to play Tryndamere, and he is so kiteable. It doesn't look like the teams can kite him, but Kennen CC, Shyvana slow with Mallet, Mundo slow, and Wukong CC, as well as the Kog'Maw slow, are just going to keep him down. And I like this part of the replay because Milka, who's been generally pretty good about going to fights, just kind of ignores his team. There's fights going on, I have no HP bars for them. Now he's finally heading towards the fight, now that everybody is dead. As the Ziggs runs away and the Kennen is low on HP, he shows up one last time. The problem that Tryndamere is having is he just can't burst through the armor that Shyvana and Mundo have at this point. He needs a Last Whisper, but it's just not going to be enough. And the teleport from Shyvana coming into play. This is a very odd fight because it's a 3v5, but the 3 are very, very far ahead in terms of items, and the 5 may not be able to deal with just their high tankiness and the damage coming out of Kennen, who isn't really fighting, he's just kind of hanging in the back killing some creeps. That Caitlyn ult did nothing, for example. That was a very tickle on Shyvana, and sadly Ziggs just is not getting used to his ult. He's overthinking how much Mundo will juke, and Mundo's just killing him as a response. Alas, Sex Core, your sexy antics could not kill Mundo. Oh, they did kill Mundo. Well, it didn't save you though. Sorry. Your sexy antics could not prevent the ace. Rest in peace, Sex Core. Rest in peace. And as usual, people have trouble finishing the game. At this point, Kog'Maw and Shyvana could have run past that tower, pushed up a creep wave, and just wiped the floor at the Nexus. But they didn't, and it doesn't really matter just because their team's so far ahead. They can deal so much damage, and Shyvana's so tanky, it almost doesn't matter. but the enemy team respawns, and this is when games turn around. But I didn't turn off the timer for a little replay, so you know it's over soon. This was just damage going out to both teams, CC going out. Blue team lost this because they had less people. That's really what it comes down to. They still took out 2 people in this exchange, but you know, they weren't able to finish the game. I've seen games reach this point where there is just a Nexus left and turnarounds happen. But you gotta be very coordinated, you gotta be very, very safe and defensive in how you play. And chasing a Wukong way out of your base is not how you do that. Alas, can Ziggs save the day? No. Rest in peace, Izumi. Yeah. Izumiya? I have no idea how to pronounce that. I've been guessing this entire time. And this studio saying adios.